What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode of the Double Double Show. It's a long time coming for the last little bit, and we're excited to join you guys for this journey, and hope you guys enjoy the entertainment. I am Kyle.
And I'm Ryan, and we're just thinking about doing a little bit of intro with you guys just before we get going here. I know a lot of people commented and didn't really know what the theme of this podcast was, so we're just going to kind of put it out for you guys. So Kyle, if you want to explain that.
Yeah, so what we kind of do with the podcast is we were kind of all, Ryan and I were sitting playing some video games actually to kind of get this thing going, and we came across the idea of doing something different with our lives, which was this idea of doing a podcast. And it's kind of nice because we were both don't really know where we want to end up in our lives, and it's a good way to interview different people, find out different things about them, have a little fun as well, throw some jokes, and yeah, just obtain some knowledge about that stuff. And overall, it was just kind of an idea that came out of nowhere in the past 3 weeks or something, I think.
Yeah. So we just want to get people with like a vast different variety of careers and grinds, or if they're doing cool stuff with their life,
some cool stories.
That stuff interests us. So like we're interested in it, and we hope you are too. The goal eventually is obviously we're not going to have like A-list celebrities on, but if we can get like a newscaster from Edmonton or Calgary, we just want to keep it like to start off with kind of like Alberta. And maybe get like a Edmonton Oiler or a Calgary Flame on. Hopefully, that's I think the goal.
Yeah, that's definitely good. Well, that's the real goal here.
Yeah, the real goal is to get sponsored by Moosehead.
Yeah, exactly.
They are unofficial sponsor. They just don't know it yet.
Exactly. So. Nice little crisp one with the boys right there.
Oh, thank you.
That went off. But yeah, we just definitely that's gonna be the tradition of this thing is we're gonna be crushing Mooseheads on set. And then the other thing to keep in mind is right now we are following like a COVID protocol stuff, just to keep that in mind. That's why we're wearing masks. Yeah. So sorry about that. But I know it's kind of lame, but it is how it is.
And one last thing before we get going here, I want to give a shout out to our buddy Nathan for creating our logo. You can see it on Instagram. His Instagram handle is Weatherby Studios. We're going to tag him in this. Thanks so much, Nathan. You do unreal work. I think he designs video games, graphics, just a stellar dude, and you just did this for us, so we're pretty thankful for that.
Yeah, unfortunately he's not too good in hockey pools though, because he's kind of getting toasted in that, but at least he can design logos, so that's all good.
All right, and without further ado, our first guest, he's a gym owner, he's an amateur wrestler, a mental health advocate, and a professional beer drinker. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Rich Hill.
Oh, already
got muted.
Dude, it's the first episode. We're a little nervous.
We're a little nervous. You don't know what the fuck we're doing. Okay, so there you go.
Randomly smashing buttons.
Pretty much. So how about that drive in, man?
Oh man, well I didn't want to bail on you guys by any means. I didn't want to ditch you guys, but we had a little issue getting into this place. Number one, going to the wrong side of town.
Yeah, went to the, I gave him the right address and you just put in the wrong numbers.
I got beef with Apple Maps right now. It's probably the worst thing I've ever dealt with. Took me to the wrong side of town. Tried to find the place based off your guys' directions. Ryan gave me one wrong number. So
no, I did not. You
did.
What?
On Snapchat, you sent me, it ended in 12. It's supposed to end in 13.
So there was definitely some technical difficulties.
That's my bad, but then I dropped him a pin. It was all good. And then he texted me 2 minutes later, and he was like, yeah, I'm stuck. Yeah. He fucking pile drived it right into the ditch.
We went dead into the ditch, and I'm not saying like just, a tire or two stuck in there spinning out. It's like full on, I was living in the ditch for like the next 3 to 4 days if I didn't get a tow out of there. So.
I think my favorite part too is we tried to get him out with 2 trucks and she didn't do the job, so AMA came to the rescue on that one.
Yeah, good old AMA worked the business right there. So free tows all around. AMA, there you go. There's another sponsor.
Shout out AMA.
Not a sponsor, but AMA.
Yeah, exactly. Not a sponsor, but AMA. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Sweet. Well, yeah. I'm glad we got your truck out.
Yeah, it was a gong show to get here, but here we are.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We were supposed to start this at what, 4:30?
Yeah, I think we're maybe
it's
like
almost 6:30.
Because they told us that it was going to be an hour and a half, so we drove all the way back to the house. Yeah. And then they're like, 5 minutes. And we're like, oh, sick.
So we had
to drive all
quick response time, but still, it took it was definitely an adventure in itself on that one. I'll say that for sure.
What an introduction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into things here. So
let's do it, boys.
You're an owner of a gym. So Like growing up, did you want to do that as a career? Is that what you thought you were going to be? Like what else did you think you were going to be?
Growing up as a kid, I thought I was going to be a professional athlete. So that was kind of
For what sport?
Hockey, then basketball.
Straight to the chill,
and
you know?
then, yeah, absolutely. You know, as an 8-year-old kid, you just imagine playing for the big leagues, and then you learn real quick that that's not going to happen. So then tried to redirect focus into basketball, and then I stopped growing at 5'7". So you're not exactly going to have the most successful basketball career when you do that. So no, I knew I wanted to do something along the lines of coaching, but I wasn't sure what it was. So originally I was going to go to school to become a PE teacher. And then over the summer, spending time with my sister and my niece and I believe my nephew at that time. Yeah. Nope, not quite yet. My niece. I realized I didn't really like kids all that much. No offense.
Yeah, they're kind of a pain in the ass, you know?
But, you know, I've grown to love them over time. But at the time, I was too immature. I didn't like kids at the time. So so instead, I went a completely different route and took business.
Yeah, see, I'm in business myself, so I get that. Yeah, it's a hustle. It's definitely a I think it's a pretty cool thing that you can use with like almost anything, right? Like if you do schooling, so.
That's 110% what I thought going into school was like business. It's universal. You can learn something and kind of figure it out once you get there. But I moved to a completely like random place. I moved to Red Deer. Didn't know a single person there. I was in business, which is a super introverted program. As you probably know, you don't do a lot of like group projects. It's a lot of stuff by yourself. So you didn't make a lot of friends the first year.
And if you do have any group projects, it's like, it's not a friend-making process in business.
No, not by any means. So so as I was going through that process, I was looking into a couple different programs. You know, broadcast journalism was one of them I was looking into. That's how I got into my own podcast, and we'll touch on that later on. But that's how I got into kinesiology, because I started really going hard at the gym because I didn't have that outlet of playing basketball or hockey anymore.
Just getting swole at the gym, hey?
Getting jacked.
It's
college time. You got to attract some girls.
Hey.
I have a quick question for you.
Go ahead.
Do you even lift, bruh?
Oh, buddy. I'm not wearing a shirt under here, and I was just at the gym before we were digging my truck out of the ditch. So if you want to see some
dude, we'll just look away and you can show the ladies.
I'll just
puppies.
Ryan might take a little quick peek in there.
Yeah, might take a little snap under the table.
Exactly.
I mean, I see some weight equipment over there, so don't make me do some reps.
Don't worry,
Jesus.
man. We'll get you on the chin-up bar before this is over.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing some handstand push-ups and shit.
Exactly. We'll really test him out. That'll be on the just bonus features section right there. Right? We'll see what he's made of.
That's on the Patreon, like OnlyFans. For you guys, hey, that's the subscription-based service.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, you're from out of province, right? You didn't grow up in
Born
Alberta?
and raised in the Yukon,
really?
baby. Yukon built. That's what I'm repping right
That's
now.
sick.
Man,
yeah.
I don't think I know anyone from the Yukon. That's the funny thing.
Now.
So now I do. That's really sick. That's
and
really
that
sick.
Dylan Cousins, that World
Dylan
Junior
Cousins,
hero.
That's right. Yeah.
What do they call him? The work machine from the Yukon or something?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't have cable right now, so I haven't been watching any.
You weren't watching the
games or
World
anything.
Juniors?
I wasn't watching any of the World Juniors.
Dude.
Man, he was too busy lifting big numbers at the gym. Give him a break, man.
Yeah. You know, different focuses and different attention spans, but yeah, Dylan Cousins is like a hero for the Yukon right now.
Yeah,
He's
for
like
sure, man.
the biggest guy. My sister actually grew up with his sister. I probably met him somewhere down the line or played hockey.
Yeah.
He probably dangled me at some point.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Just undressed.
But there's a little bit of an age discrepancy. You know, he's like 19, I'm 30, so we probably didn't actually play against each other now that I think about it. But no, it's kind of cool seeing somebody from your hometown actually get that chance. I mean, it's probably a little different if you're from Sherwood Park and you have multiple people playing in the NHL from Sherwood Park.
Yeah, exactly, Sherwood Park's kind of a weird one with that. I've definitely played like with some people who I'm like, you think you're good going to hockey, and then you play with them and you're like, wake up call, you know?
The Edmonton Oilers are just down the road, let's say that. And in the Yukon, you have to go 24 hours to get anywhere with any semblance type of like good hockey going on.
Yeah, and Sherwood Park has a really strong hockey program as well. Like,
the Crusaders actually, our gym actually got to work with them a bit before the closure.
I saw that on your Instagram.
So we just started training those guys, and they're phenomenal. Like great. It's such a great organization too.
The crew, hey?
It's fantastic. Like they were killing it last year. Obviously COVID kind of crashed a lot of that party, and then this year they were just kind of getting rolling and COVID crashed that party once again.
Yeah.
Goddamn Alberta.
So like tying into that, I guess, since like Crew's going to your gym, like I guess like a good question too with that is like so you kind of went on your backstory about like how you got into like a whole bunch of like physical stuff and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but what was like the with the gym, like what was the big draw, like what was the like the hurdles you had to kind of get to start that up? Because that's kind of like talk about that a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, you know, it was a bit of a battle. Well, the company that I'm with, we originated in Red Deer, right? So I was working there for probably 4 years before I opened up this one. I actually moved my entire life up here to Edmonton to start running this guy. I originally was just the general manager, but like we had to, like we demolished this entire building, and I can show you guys pictures later on. But we demolished this entire building, put up different mezzanines. Like we had a strict, like we need to be open by this day. And on the Monday, everything, like the mezzanines were still getting put up.
Oh no way.
But through hard work and perseverance, like we put in some hard hours, we grinded, and we got that place open for the Saturday.
And you guys actually helped build it too, right?
Yeah, a lot of the building I've actually painted, or I did like some type of sanding, or some type of metal work. I'm not I'm not handy with my hands at all. Like I'm a fitness guy through and through. I can't change oil
unless it's a dumbbell, right? Unless it's a dumbbell.
Dude, unless it's the iron, right?
These hands were made for iron, and even then they're a little small. But but yeah, it was a struggle. And then obviously we're opening a gym in a completely like foreign territory for us. Like I had never been to Sherwood Park before opening this place. The owners had never been there. But, you know, we took a look at the market share and kind of what was happening in Sherwood Park. We saw that it was growing so much. Like in the last 6 years that I've been here, this town's just boomed.
Yeah. People have money to spend here too. That's the thing,
and
right?
People have money to spend. That's right. So that's kind of what we were looking for in a market. So going from, you know, in Red Deer, it's a super well-known gym, like name recognition all the way around town, right? Big fish and a little bit of a smaller pond, where now we are like a completely unknown entity in this whole new pond that we know nothing about. So it's like there was a lot of hurdles that we had originally in terms of just getting the business running. Like there was quite a few years we were running pretty skimpy on the if any profits. You know, we were probably losing quite a bit of money, but
and that ties into one of our questions that we had for you. It was just about like how owning a business is super tricky and stuff. And like sometimes you feel like you're on cloud nine, right? Like you're like, oh, like I don't have a boss, I don't have to, you know, listen to anyone, make your own schedule. When people think about owning a business, they think of it as a great thing. Yeah,
like you have control and you're making like everyone thinks you're making money quick, you know, like everything that, right? But like as you're business students, so they've probably gone over like the thing, like you don't make money your first 2 years a lot of times, like if not more. Right?
On the flip side, there's probably like lower lows than there is higher highs, right? Like I just wanted you to kind of talk about that.
Yeah. So again, and being in like a little bit almost like a franchise type situation, but all the studios were connected. Like it's a very unique situation how the business was operated. But we've really kind of streamlined it where each studio is a separate entity now, but they have relatively the same ownership group. So I'm part of the ownership group in the Sherwood Park one, obviously not in the Red Deer one. But yeah, we were probably losing money for the first 3 to 4 years, to be honest with you. I think year 4 we just broke even. Year 5 we maybe profited like $2,000 overall. And then last year we finally hit like a pretty decent number, like now that we have a couple people in place in really important positions. But yeah, it's tough because like you said, a lot of people think like you just start a business and you're making money, but that's not how it goes, especially in the fitness industry, right? Like we got to pay to keep the lights on. We got to pay to do marketing. We got to pay our administrators. We got to pay and that's without paying our trainers on top of that, right? Yeah. So we do all the sales. Like I do primarily the sales there, right? So you just keep constantly chipping it away. And then also because it's a shareholder agreement, right? You're not just pocketing all the money that you make. It's distributed between people that have invested, obviously, right? So it's a little bit more complicated than a lot of people think.
100%.
Especially
100%.
Especially with gyms. They're so highly volatile. Like gyms will go out of business in literally a month, a couple weeks, if people aren't really smart about it. Like, again, you can buy all the top line equipment, but it's going to break down eventually. You need to make sure you're maintaining it. You need to have those memberships. you need to have people know, like, and trust you. So
yeah, especially it's like a service, like, because your like gym is more of a service-based entity as well, which is huge because like obviously you're relying on a lot of word of mouth, right? So like to get your first clients is probably your toughest, and then after that, when people kind of recommend you, it probably helped you out a bit, I'd think. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, you're 110% right. Like, word of mouth is one of the biggest things for our business. Like, again, I don't think I even name dropped yet, but 360 Fitness is the company that I work for.
Shout out 360 Fitness.
Yeah, not a sponsor.
If you want to get jacked,
Dude,
that's the place to go.
This is the perfect place to get our first sponsorship.
Let's
just put it on paper later.
It
and
was
let's just
all a
figure it out,
ruse,
right?
you know. Have your people fax my people, and
send us a couple of those hats, and you maybe a hefty check, and we're good to go.
Well, maybe throw you a couple hats, but that's about it. But yeah, so 360 Fitness operates a little bit differently, right? It's personal training exclusive. So we're not a public gym where people just walk off the street and utilize it, right? So we're a little bit more upscale. So when people are paying a little bit more of a premium, they expect a better service. And that's really what we try to do, is we try to balance having kind of a higher end service, but still being affordable for most people, right? Like, you get some of those people that will do like, maybe a service that might not be so prime, but they're charging out the ass for it.
Yeah. And the other thing that I think is interesting too is like I know a lot of people who aren't really like gym savvy, I guess, right? So like a place like that, I know like for lots of people who don't have sports experience or don't know how to handle weights or exercises, like that's very beneficial for them too, right? So especially when you're saying that, it's just like that idea that like that expertise is definitely it definitely costs something for sure, because you don't just learn it overnight.
Well, you bring up such a great point, is like people that aren't familiar, that didn't grow up in sports, people that really had like a negative experience in school, like going through gym, right? Whether they got bullied because they weren't good at fucking dodgeball.
Those damn beep tests.
Beep tests are the worst, man.
I actually kind of like the beep test. I'm not gonna lie.
I was good at it.
That's why I do what I do. But there's people that have such negative experiences from fitness, so it's like to expect them to go into a regular gym where you have no idea what you're doing. Yeah, everybody around you looks like they know exactly what they're doing.
Looks like they got some roid rage,
Yeah, and you have these big guys grunting, groaning, throwing weights around. You get these girls in like small, little, skimpy outfits, and it's like it's intimidating for people. So it's kind of scary on that side of things. So when people are looking to take that first step, it's good to have people that are similar around you, have a good place where you feel comfortable, and you can learn to actually enjoy the process. Versus going there, hating yourself, going and just walking on the treadmill for half an hour because you don't know how to use anything and you don't want to look like an idiot, right? Yeah. Like, again, you look at all those like gym fail videos online, and it's like, part of you is like, yeah, that's hilarious. Another part of you is like, well, crap, like that person literally doesn't know what they're doing.
And you can get hurt so easily doing that stuff too, right?
Oh, exactly. Well, again, the ones I laugh at are people that clearly know what they're doing, but just screw around and like completely fuck up their lift. It's hilarious.
See, the ones that I laugh at is the people who use the squat rack because they're doing legs. Like, that's unacceptable. So I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm a big leg guy myself. Hockey and stuff, you need squats.
That's very true.
But I decided to do it for the meme because obviously that's
you always got to do a set of curls in the squat rack. That's how you. Exactly. That's a compound lift. If you
so just so our audience knows, your gym only does personal training, right?
Yes. So 360 Fitness, it's personal training exclusive. Obviously, when COVID's not a big impact on our lifestyle, we also do small groups. But we're all one-on-one. Everybody's certified there. We try to cover everything like lifestyle based, right? So it's not just the workout, it's also helping with the nutritional side of things. It's helping with the lifestyle, and it's not nutrition like, hey, you need X amount of grams of protein a day, or you need to eat chicken, rice, and green beans for every meal. It's coming up with realistic expectations for people, right?
Because everybody's gonna indulge in a little cheat meal here and there, right? So as long as you can kind of change your diet to something that you can enjoy, but it's also like healthy.
And I think that's a very important point you touched on too, because I being an athlete myself, I know lots of people think like, oh, I'm just going to lose weight from going to the gym. Like another thing, like people forget, like you can have a trainer at some place, and if they're not helping you with your diet, the training you're doing might not help you as well. So like the fact that you guys are doing that is even like another element in itself.
Yeah, we're here to try to make people have a better lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. Our tagline is real people, real results, and that's that's a tagline for a reason, because they're real people that have real jobs, that have real that have kids, that aren't like going away to the Biggest Loser ranch for 6 weeks, losing all this weight and then slowly putting it back on because they didn't really learn anything, right? We want to make sure people are learning how to do this and how to feel better about themselves and build that confidence up, right? That's such an important part.
And habit is big too.
Is everything, right? You can't out-train a bad diet. It's really the old adage, and it's 100% true.
Yeah.
Despite my best efforts.
Another thing too is he's getting an exemption from drinking the Moosehead. Him and his personal trainers are doing a 6-week no drinking challenge.
Oh.
So me and Kyle had to make a big decision if we were going to let him come on the podcast or not, and we gave him the exemption.
Yeah, it was a lot of deliberation, but I think when this his whole his health cleanse is over, we might have to have a quick little filmage of him mucking a Moosehead.
Yeah, trust me, I know this guy loves beer. This guy loves beer.
It's been a hard thing, actually. It was something I made a conscious decision of after the last lockdown, of just like, hey, you know what? December 8th or whatever it was, as the announcement came out that everything was going to get closed, I told myself, like, hey, listen, this time around, can't be drinking. That's during the original lockdown. I was drinking every night. And it wasn't getting wrecked every night or trying to
just a beer here and there.
It's just that idea that, the fridge is nearby, you're maybe taking it easy, and who doesn't like taking it easy with a good Moosehead in their fridge, right?
Exactly, right? It's, well, dealing with the stress side of things, obviously dealing with anxiety of not knowing what's happening with the world, but also
and boardom too, right?
Exactly.
People
you're
eat
sitting
when they're
there,
bored,
you're just
drink
kind
when
of
they're bored.
You're just kind of bored, and it's like, well, I can sleep in tomorrow. I don't have to worry about I don't have to worry about this. So
I can have a couple,
Next thing you know, you have 6 or 7, and if you're doing that every night, obviously that's not healthy.
Yeah, and then you're probably gonna order some za or
mucking a pizza quickly,
I wouldn't say that was a big issue for me during that time, but it was definitely the alcohol, and it put me in kind of a darker place because it was already being a single guy.
Yo, this guy has got guns, ladies. I'm telling you.
Being a single guy, again, you don't have a lot of interaction with people, so it's you kind of just rely on hopefully somebody texts back, or hopefully somebody's not ghosting you.
Maybe a solid swipe, right? That's
exactly, right? But then what's the point? Because you can't meet them. It's illegal to meet them anyway. What's the point of doing this?
It's dude, weird. You can do the what does Bumble say? The online FaceTime.
Oh God, yeah. I don't FaceTime my family, let alone a stranger. That sounds fun. But so this time around, I was like, nope, not going to drink. I'm only going to drink on Christmas and New Year's. And then after New Year's, we started up our 6-week thing. So it's actually going on 5 weeks right now, and we still have another 3 weeks to go. So
good
all
for
said
you,
and done, it will probably be 8 weeks, no alcohol, which is probably the longest I've gone in my adult life. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
You're a bigger man than me.
As we're crushing beers right now.
I would be right in there, trust me, with the day we just had.
You'd already be on your second one.
That's looking pretty tasty right now, but water will do for now.
Agua.
You probably feel a lot better just not drinking, hey, too. It's almost like an experiment in itself.
It is. It really is. And that's another good part of doing this. That's why it's a challenge, right? It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be an experiment to see how is body composition going to change? How is lean muscle mass going to change up? How am I going to feel on my day-to-day life? Honestly, there's been maybe 2 or 3 days where it's I really wish I could have a drink, but you just kind of get through those and you're good. It's been easier than I thought it would. I mean, everything's been closed, so that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going out with friends or seeing anybody.
Yeah, you're not going tossing hundies at the fucking brew house.
Ripping a couple tankards.
Those juggernaut things.
One time, me and Rich were at the brew house, and he was texting me, and you were already probably
I was already
8
trashed,
deep.
Yeah, I was pretty
yeah. So I show up, and coincidentally it was actually with all the owners of 360, right?
Yeah. A couple of the shareholders. For sure.
Rich was already just bombed, and he's like, "Dude, let's do the Juggernaut." And the Juggernaut is what it's at Brewhouse. It's 4 shots, 2 beers,
it's
something ridiculous,
ungodly, shot after shot after shot.
Well, I think the big thing is that you guys don't remember what it was, and that's the story all itself, right there.
There's a great video that I'll never put online, but
and then Rich was just gone after that. When I did it, I was probably only a beer or 2 too deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were already.
I
like,
think every
feeling
time I've done that, it's just turned out to be the worst. But I think that night was probably like the worst drunk night I've ever had.
Yeah,
the worst.
And then
down.
what? After that, we went to Greta, didn't we?
And if we want to get completely
let's
into
just say he got a little bit of naughty with his was it Facebook messages? so what
no,
I'm just gonna ask, what did you learn from that?
What did I learn? Well, stay off your phone when you're drunk.
Yeah.
One message is probably enough.
But it's when you message and they don't answer, and then you post on the Facebook wall. That's when you know you're in the doghouse.
That was ballsy.
Was,
it didn't work.
My question was there a scene under that message that you sent? When you're on Facebook saying a message and there's a scene or whatever, like when someone sees it. Was that in the?
No! This was on the wall.
He posted to her public profile, man.
Oh man, that's
he woke up and he was like, I was like, dude, like, are you still alive? Because like he was so drunk,
man.
And he's like, yeah,
that's
man.
Funny.
And then
that
he's like,
funny.
He's like, yeah, I did some things I regret. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna say her name, but yeah, I posted on her wall. I'm like, dude, man, that's bad.
Yeah,
man, but I mean, I'm sure we've all made drunk mistakes like that, and
live, learn, and don't drink as much as I did.
Yeah, don't do an unsung or whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh yeah,
Juggernaut.
Mistakes were made, but you become a bigger, stronger person for it. And fortunately,
and some good stories come out of it for sure. I'll say that one.
Good for other people. Again, I always say, like, I think that's probably one of my most embarrassing moments of like life.
But I mean, like,
not just drunk, but life in general. Waking up and seeing like, what did I do?
Yeah. Like you have to like go back and see all the damages you caused and quickly
36 missed calls.
Calling the insurance company, making sure you're good.
It's not even like what's the damage? It's like, what did I scorch this earth with? Like, how badly did I burn this town down?
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, well.
No, but for real, everybody makes like those stupid mistakes. Or like everybody's woken up and just been like, fuck, I'm never gonna drink again.
Well, like some people might be saying like, oh, he's a trainer, but you're telling this drunk story. It's like, well, yeah, I'm a real person. Yeah, everybody does this, right? Like everybody has a couple too many every now and then. And
well, yeah, see, some would argue it's healthy to hang loose a little bit, have a little bit of some time to have
in moderation, right?
In moderation, everything's good in moderation, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, like obviously the point where your liver fails is obviously not a good part, but because I know we've probably all been in that boat, but
I wouldn't be lying if I said I wish my liver gave out on me like before that whole situation happened, but I digress.
No, it's all good, man.
But
we definitely had some good nights. A couple of summers ago, we went a little.
Yeah, for context in that too, like Ryan and Rich know each other. I have no the first time
me and Rich are buddies. We met playing baseball actually, and then it was every Wednesday, and then we go to Brew House Wing Wednesday, and it would either be 2 beers or it would be be like 6 or 10. Oh yeah, we went to the strippers once. Got like VIP service. That was they had a big round. Remember that little like tray that they brought out?
I remember, yeah.
And it was of like these like drinks, and I didn't know what they were. Yeah. And you could like mix them and shit. And I was just like pounding them back. And then after I like asked the dude who brought them, I'm like, what were those? He's like, oh, they were double shots. And I'm like, oh my God, I blacked out. I actually remember like walking on Gateway, just having no fucking clue where I am, man.
A little late night adventure by yourself.
Literally, man. Like it was bad.
When you contact the Uber, it's the classic like, so where are you, sir? And you're like, I have no idea where I am. Like you're just gonna have to find my phone.
Yeah, I'm just dropping you a pin, man.
Wandering guy on the side of the street, looks potentially homeless, something like that, right?
Yeah. Trust me, I have money on my credit card.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, if not, I have $20 in my pocket. Like, just help me out here, bud. Right? Exactly.
No.
I think we've all been through those. Like, I know it's you gotta have at least one night like that, right? So
100%.
Yeah.
And all right, okay, let's move on from this.
We got from these adventures.
We got a couple more questions.
So we could probably just edit that whole part out.
Yeah, exactly.
And call it good.
Dude, we don't know how to edit, man.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Literally, like, that was like the announcement, the first thing. Like, we just had no idea what we were like doing at all. So
we're just going.
We're just going with it. Okay, so I got one last little question for you, Jim. I know you do a lot of charity work.
Yes.
Can you kind of just talk about that? Because I think that's super important, and just awesome that you guys do that.
Yeah, so the charity side of things is something that's near and dear to me. Anytime you can give back to the community, I think is always such a vital part of what we as a community need to do is look out for each other, right? Again, just wearing masks in general, it's like that helps other people that don't have the same type of immune system that we do with this whole COVID situation. It's not so much protecting me; it's going to help protect somebody else.
Yeah.
But as a company, like, we believe in giving back, and it's something I'm super passionate about. Like, we've been able to do extraordinary things for like a small locally owned business. Like, just this summer, we were able to raise over $17,000 for the Little Warriors Foundation.
Yeah,
that's
through
good.
a trainer
That's incredible,
revenge.
man.
Well, 17,000, right? Like,
Yeah.
not 1,700. So it's outstanding what the community can come together to do, especially in such a hard time, right?
Yeah.
So not only have we worked with like Little Warriors, we've done a ton for the food bank. We've done what was the other company that we've done multiple like blood drives and stuff. So
that's sick.
we're always trying to find ways to help with the community, and that even includes doing some like silent auctions for like hockey teams or gymnastics clubs or swim clubs. Just trying to find ways to kind of give back, not just to one charity, but trying to kind of help everybody out, right? One of our trainers did I think it was a 12-hour bike relay for the Diabetes Foundation this summer.
Wow.
It was unbelievable, and they made like a couple $1,000s for that too. So it's pretty outstanding what one or two people can do, and us as a company, we try to do as much as we can on that side of things. So.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, so do you do one a year? Do you do multiple, or because obviously 17,000 is like a lot, right? Is that focus? Do you build up that event for the one a year, or do you try and crank out a certain amount, or does it just kind of naturally organically form?
So with the one that we were able to raise 17,000 for, that was kind of a combination of two different charity events we typically do. So we normally do a yearly gala where we get dressed up nice, out of the sweatpants and crap. Into some fancy clothes, have a nice night, do a client appreciation night, have obviously tickets cost money to get in, and silent auction items and all that kind of jazz, with proceeds going to whatever charity that we've chose. Again, we typically go with Little Warriors for that one, as well as combining that together with what we call our trainer revenge event as well, where clients can actually donate to get trainers to do workouts that we have prescribed. So
I've seen that on your Instagram before.
It's kind of like Hell Week for us, but obviously it's for a great cause. So what we did for this one was we had the Trainer Revenge event, but we also had a silent auction item drive at the same time. So just kind of the combination of the two ended up just raising an outstanding amount of money. But we try to do probably one charity event a quarter, whether it's like a toy drive around Christmas time, whether it's Movember, for example. Every year I'd grow a gross mustache and ruin my face for a month. So that's always
Dude,
a fun
it looks
one.
deadly, man. I'm telling you.
It's great.
Rich can grow a sick stash.
Nothing like being Signal with a gross ass mustache.
Hey man, it's probably better than mine. If I'm growing a stash, I got the pedal stash. I better to get some of those aviator glasses on and walk down the street with my straight jacket or some shit. So it's probably better than mine based on what you guys got going. I'm oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm pretty fortunate that way, where I can actually grow one. But for whatever reason, in my head every year, I'm okay, how can I make this even more disgusting? So it's handlebars or the old Lemmy one, where it comes down and attaches to your sideburns like this last year.
Yeah,
you got to do the Zach Cassian chops.
Yeah. You get a little freaky with it, don't you?
I try to have a little fun with it. That's for sure. I don't take myself too seriously. So
yeah, fair enough. That's sick.
Good. Yeah, no, that's definitely sweet though. That's quarterly. Trying to do things quarterly with that, that's a lot more than probably a lot of other places do. I don't get too many, I don't know, I worked for some companies over the years, and they might even only do one, right? So it's amazing, and some of those are big corporations as well, right? So when you have a little one that's actually helping out your local demographic and stuff, that's definitely a more local based. It's definitely really good for sure too. So
yeah, dude. Again, I think one example was I think it was the Oilers donated like $6,000 to a charity, and I was like, what, $6,000? The Oilers, like, we donated 17,000.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
way less than they do in anything they do. But obviously they have multiple different charities they do across the year and all this kind of stuff. But it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's almost that feather in the cap that makes you feel a little bit better about yourself, being like, yeah, we're donating more than these guys.
Oh yeah, and it must feel
Yeah.
so good, like as the person kind of like organizing it and stuff, and then like when you are able to bring that check to the food bank or to where like whatever you said, Little
Yeah.
Warriors, is that the name of it?
Little Warriors Foundation. They're actually based, their original base is here in Sherwood Park, so it's like completely local on that side of things.
So
like
what are they? Like I have no clue.
It's for children's sexual abuse, so for kids that have been sexually abused or are in situations like that or recovering from it. So I wish I could take all the credit for like organizing everything, but I have a very good team that kind of does it for me, and then I take all the credit.
Collaboration.
I just take the credit for like Instagram and stuff, but but no. So they two of them, Crystal and Carissa, actually, they went out and were able to check out the Little Warriors Be Brave Ranch, which is like a treatment center, and they came back and it was just like a life-changing experience, right? So
That's
it's
so
like
sweet.
seeing what we can do for these kids that have just gone through these horrible traumas, right? Like again, it's gross. It's really fucking gross what these people do to these kids. And like I think the stat was like 1 in 4 girls
it's
sexually like
it's like gross enough if it happens to anyone, but when it's like children, it's like another degree, right? Like it's just like it's like you know, it's one of those things where because you have that innocence that you don't have a like life experience. So it's I definitely like I understand what you're saying with that, and it's just like even like we were saying with even like the toy drive thing, right? Like something as small as that, like you're a child who doesn't get like a Christmas present or something, that can be like, you know, that develops you into a certain type of person, right? Like so.
110%, right? Like the littlest things can go such a far way. In my mind, like if I can do something like so minuscule that'll just change somebody's day, like if somebody's having a bad day and I know that like giving them this bottle of water is just going to make them feel like just a little better. Not like exponentially.
Kind of like the AMA driver with your truck today, right?
110%. It always comes back to that. But yeah, like if you can do just like the tiniest thing for somebody, like you got to do it, right?
Yeah.
Just to put a smile on somebody's face. So, I mean, again, with being able to do this kind of work, again, I'm living out a passion. I get to live my life in a gym essentially. So being able to give back to other people and try to support them is always such a wonderful cause for me. So
sure. Yeah, that's definitely great. And like, it's definitely like if you're doing what you like and you have that time to do it, it's definitely a great thing to tackle. Like if you like just crushing things at the gym, it like, cause I've seen, like I've looked at your like pictures and stuff at the gym. It's a nice facility, you know? So like you're living pretty good there with those weights. I mean, like the only downside that I noticed is like for a guy like myself, there wasn't enough 45s in it. But I mean like, you know, but other than that, you know, it's the bench press didn't have enough 45s.
You don't touch those 35s or 25s, right? Just
you, man.
Just stacking 45s on them.
That's okay. I can lift it all 45s. Yeah, it's pretty fortunate to be able to give back and everything like that. So it makes you feel good. And, you know, it's not always giving back just money-wise. It's also just giving back time, effort, thought process, spending a little bit of time marketing on it, right? Mentioning it during things like this. So it goes a long way.
Exactly. So, it's because time's the one thing you don't get more of it at all. So it's just, that's like the most valuable like resource essentially.
And that's usually, honestly, like most people think it's like, hey, I don't have money to donate to these charities. That's okay. People don't need your money. They need your time. They need people there to actually help, like, you know, repair stuff or cook meals or sort things. You know, it's
manpower pretty much. Exactly.
Just volunteering and stuff.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, that's awesome that you do that. Now, this is a question that all the ladies want to know.
Oh, God, no.
Well, I guess that's not a question. I just want you to talk about your wrestling career and how you got into it.
Yeah, boy.
So this guy is a legit wrestler. He does shows and things.
Professional wrestling is what it's called.
It is professional? So I have amateur down here, but correct me.
So amateur wrestling is like Olympic freestyle wrestling. Okay. So that's what you'll see like in high school, and that's what you'll see.
Yeah, with the competitions. And the points
exactly, right? So Olympic wrestling was something that I did as a kid and kind of fell out of because, again, you're in the Yukon. There's maybe like 2 people interested in it. So it's like, what's the point? which I wish I would have kept with it, seeing how much like MMA blew up, and maybe I'd, stand a chance in a fight or something. At this point, I'm just like, no, I don't need to get sucker punched or not sucker punched, but like I don't need to get choked out and like embarrassed by everybody that's actually like legit. So
laying flat on the ground.
Exactly. So pro wrestling is the stuff that you'll see on TV. So that's the WWE, that's AEW, that's the old school Stone Cold Steve Austin, like
the John Cena.
Yeah, John Cena, I guess for kids your age. God, you're young. So yeah, it's kind of along that line. So I got into that because as a small child, again, dreaming of being a professional athlete, pro wrestling was another avenue that I was always looking at as well. And that was kind of always in the back pocket of like, well, I'll get into this and eventually I'll just become famous. I'll be the next Stone Cold. Woo. Yeah. Like, not really thinking anything of it. So years and years go by. I was thinking like, hey, after high school, didn't happen. I was like, hey, after college, didn't happen. So years later, I finally just bit the bullet and said like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm healthy. I have a pretty good physique. I'm pretty athletic. Let's give it a shot. Live life with no regrets.
Yeah.
So that was probably about 3 years ago now. I was going to give myself a 3-year time span, but I'm having fun doing it. So I'm probably going to keep doing it for at least another couple of years.
Yeah, why not, right? I mean,
absolutely. So it's a blast, and it's something that not everyone's going to understand, right? Because it legitimately is basically adult play fighting.
Man, it's just, I know exactly. It's like, but it's cool. Like, I've seen like some of the people who like know how to do like take the hits and stuff, and like they flop on the ground. Like I'm like, that you do the little push and then you can just do the whole back pedal thing. And I'm like,
don't get it twisted. Like it might be like some people might see it as play fighting. Yeah. I've separated my shoulder doing this. I've gotten busted open doing this. I've bled. I've messed up like my wrist, my hand. Like what you see when they're like the impact is real. There's no faking. Right. When people are like, "Oh, you're not actually punching each other," there's some contact there, and it's not the best feeling in the world.
Well, even the sound. Like sometimes you hear the sound of like, regardless, you're hitting that floor.
One of the worst things that you can do is get chopped by a wrestler.
What, chopped?
Chopped, yeah. Just an open palm, like swing, boom, right to the chest.
You want to demonstrate on Ryan?
I would love to. But COVID,
exactly.
It's not a cohort, so.
Exactly that.
But like, so these things do hurt. And, it's like any other type of performing arts, right? Like it's suspending disbelief. One of my friends kind of brought it up, and I kind of latched on to this idea is that professional wrestlers are very much like strippers in the sense of like, hey, it's all a show.
See, now you're speaking our language, okay? Now it's all making sense.
I saw you both perk up. I saw the table kind of wobble a little bit.
I'm like, oh.
So again, I'll elaborate a little bit. So when you go to a strip club, right, you're there, you're watching the show, you're having a good time.
Hucking loonies.
If you're in Canada, yes, you're hucking loonies. Apparently,
that's a Canadian thing.
That's only Canadian.
Yeah, because you have dollar bills. They don't do that in the States, man. You got dollar bills. So
and they don't go full nude in the States too.
Really, I didn't know
topless.
that.
So we're pretty much saying is strip clubs in Canada are better.
To our American viewers, when COVID's over, they're going to be,
I mean, it depends on the club you go to, the time of day you go to. Yeah. Some people.
Man, we probably need another podcast session to go through that entire thing with you, hey?
No. This is easy. If you guys just stop distracting me. So anyways, you go to a strip club very much like you go to a pro wrestling show for entertainment, and you're there to have a good time, right? Yeah. So what the strippers do is that they try to pull you in to think that you have a shot with them, right?
Yeah.
Right? So they'll come around and they'll be like, hey, how are you? It's like, oh, let me come. It's like, you're cute. And, I'll check back in. It's like, do you want to dance? And all this kind of stuff. And they'll just kind of work you, right?
Yeah.
But that's what we're doing as pro wrestlers too, is we're trying to draw you in and realize that what we're doing in the ring, even though you know that like, hey, there's some sort of like predetermined nature to this might actually be real. Like these guys might actually be doing this, right?
Yeah.
This might actually be happening. So then they come around and they buy your merchandise. They buy the stuff that you're trying to huck, right? They're coming to the next show. They're buying tickets off you. So now you're making a little bit of money on them. So it's kind of not only that, but you're wearing skimpy outfits. You're oiled up. You're on the road. You're not
flexing
getting
the
paid
pecs a little bit,
right? So yeah, you're kind of like flexing out a little bit. You got to look good. You have weird hours. So
obviously you enjoy it too, right? Like,
it's a blast.
You
like
grew up watching wrestling.
I grew up watching wrestling, like idolizing wrestling. Like it wasn't just like, hey, it's on TV, but it was like actively like we're at the old video store. I guess your generation didn't really grow up with those too much.
But yeah, Rogers home video.
Rogers home video. So and every time I'd go and I'd like grab one of the wrestling tapes and make sure that we rented a wrestling tape just to watch like Stone Cold. I remember watching a couple old UFCs because I thought it was wrestling.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is stupid. And then like in my teenage years, I fell back in love with the UFC. And I'm like, oh, I remember watching this as a little kid. And just not being interested in it because it was kind of boring. That's one thing I like about pro wrestling. It's a show.
Yeah.
So you're always going to be entertained.
Yeah.
Like I watch some of the UFCs now and some of the talent is so diluted and some people fight very safely, which is smart for their career. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes it's just boring.
There's like no risks, and like people like play it really safe. There's like no risk, like as many risk takers. Because like I know what you're saying with that too. It's like that idea. Like it's funny because you have two good fighters in the ring. You can't really like. It looks like they're just like covering up all the time. But then like if you were to put one random person, they'd get killed.
Oh, they would get stomped.
But like you can't see that. You can't see that when you have two professionals like in there. So it's not as I get what you mean. It's not.
It's kind of like Khabib, right? Like Khabib is like the best fighter, but he's not the most flashy fighter, right? Like if you got McGregor and Ferguson in there. I don't know if our viewers watch UFC at all. Probably not. But you know what I mean?
They probably don't watch wrestling for fuck's sake, so we're still talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, fuck, why did we go into that?
Who cares? It's fun.
It's cool. Like I mean, like lots of things, like even like what you're saying, like lots of people don't know that, right? Like lots of people probably think like, oh, it's like the effort that like, oh, it's 100% fake. Like you're not taking a punch. Or like when you say that, it definitely like for me, I just like sometimes I watch and like, man, he's like must be faking it pretty hard. But like when you say that and you're saying you're actually taking a hit, it's like till you're there, you actually know, right?
Absolutely. So. Most matches I'll end up having a couple bumps and bruises for sure.
For sure.
People also have a misrepresentation of like what the ring's actually made out of. They think that it's like a trampoline, basically. It is not. It is plywood with a small wrestling mat on top to cover steel underneath it.
Oh.
Yeah, well.
There's not a lot of forgiveness there.
Maybe, when COVID isn't a thing anymore, you'll have to body slam Kyle and you can tell me what it feels like.
Man, I want you to take the chair right to me.
Do like the Rey Mysterio, like, what is it, the 911 or the 611?
911.
No, what is it, the 611?
Man,
what is it, man? Isn't it like the 611 or
619? I can't believe you just said
you're a little off on that one, but I wouldn't have known better. But
I thought it was.
You know what 911 is?
Well, yes, I know what 911 is, but I thought that it was
the
619.
People aren't as insensitive in wrestling these days.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah. I guess here's like when I think of wrestling,
yeah.
I just think of like the straight up like, have you ever grabbed the chair from like from any situation and used a chair in a wrestling match? Like I know that's such a stage thing to do, but I just feel like that is like the number one thing for some reason. Whenever I've seen anything, is just the chair, like grabbing the chair from under the stage. It's the funniest thing to me.
Buddy, it hurts.
Okay. There we go.
These aren't cushy like rubber chairs that you're hitting each other with. These are legitimate chairs that you can go out to Walmart and buy.
Like the ones we're sitting on right now, like literally the metal chairs.
Exactly. Kind of like these, right? Except for they don't have the padding on them.
Clocked over the back with it.
But yeah, so like obviously you want to be safe. Like the biggest thing is like you're not trying to hurt anybody, but you're trying to make it look like you're actually hurting somebody. So you do have to put some mustard behind it.
Yeah.
The people that don't are the ones that it's less like you would watch it and you'd be like, oh, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, why am I even here, right? Whereas like I have a little bit more intensity and I have a little bit more pride. So it's like if somebody's gonna get hit by me, they're probably gonna feel it a little bit, but I expect them to do the same to me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? Like again, people are here to watch a little bit of a show. Let's put on a show and let's make a little bit of impact. But yes, I've definitely hit somebody with a chair.
Nice.
What else have I done? Yeah, that's been about the only like hardcore thing that I've done. And
that's pretty dope. Like I think if I would not want to be the one being hit by the chair, but I'd love to try and hit someone with the chair.
Yeah, I've been hit by a chair probably like 2 or 3 times.
Nice.
Just to the back, it's fine.
Do you have that on like your Tinder profile? Be like,
3-time chair receiving.
Yeah, exactly.
Chair fetish.
Yeah, just a little hit me harder, baby.
Okay.
Make me feel it.
One last thing before we get out of this topic. Have you guys done anything since COVID, or is it just completely shut down?
Yeah, it's been pretty shut down for the most part. So like last summer, as things were opening up again, we were running a couple shows with Monster Pro Wrestling here in town, and then Canadian Wrestling Elite outside of the city. So in like St. Albert, Grand Prairie, Calgary, there was some running in Lethbridge as well. But then obviously restrictions came into place. So we usually run out of a city ran hall. So as those got closed, we did some online format shows. So people can actually watch some of these matches online on the YouTube page that they have. They can see my short little shorts, my tight ass. So
those big buns.
Those big buns of steel. That's right.
Once again, ladies, single.
Single. Why am I single at this point? Well, you probably just heard all the stories of why. But yeah. So since like we did a couple onlines, and then as more restrictions came down, it was just not worth the risk, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You can't trust where everybody's going and what everybody's doing, and wrestling's not exactly the most COVID friendly activities.
It's be a little tough to stay 6 feet apart.
Pretty intimate there when you got some guy's ass in your face, but it is what it is. So yeah, looking forward to getting back to it when we can, but
sweet,
we'll see.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet, man.
All right, so we got a couple more questions and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, give her.
So I know that mental health is as important as ever right now, and I know you're a huge advocate for it. I know I see you're always posting tips and stuff to do it. I'm sure everybody right now is suffering from it in some sort of another, where it's, say like for Christmas, you want to spend time with your family and like your extended family and you can't. And obviously like it sucks, like everybody's going through something like that, whether it's like what degree it's to, it varies, right?
Or even like you're saying, like things like mental health, like physical health is a big element of mental health as well. Yeah. Like, it's a whole thing like that. And yeah. Exactly.
So like I see you always talking about it on your Instagram, like what would you, give advice to, like what would your advice be to someone that might be struggling with it? And maybe it's, came on because of the pandemic, or maybe they've been struggling with it for a while.
Yeah, it's a really hard thing to kind of have a general overview of, just because like each situation is so different. Like some people want more like human interaction. Some people need to kind of figure things out by themselves, right? So it's like, it's hard to kind of give a general overview, but I'll do my best. Like some of the best things that we can do is obviously physical activity, and it doesn't have to be within a gym. It can simply be going outside for a walk. Some of the best things for mental health are actually just getting outside, getting fresh air, getting away from the distractions of TV, the computer, your cell phone. Reducing screen time is one of the best things that we can actually do for our physical health, except for watching this, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. This is, audio, video, whatever. This is the exception, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But again, it's just reducing time that we're on our phone. Like, again, our society is so obsessed with social media now. We're so connected, but that has positives and negatives to it, right? Because not only are you feeling certain ways, but now you're reading how other people are feeling, right? Especially with COVID right now, you go on Facebook and you'll see people, calling somebody a dumbass for not wearing a mask, and another guy calling somebody a dumbass for wearing masks, right?
Yeah.
So no matter where you fall on the equation, you're the dumbass.
Yeah, exactly.
And, it's just that constant negative thoughts that go through, and then there's those subconscious thoughts as well as my fitness page, my wrestling page, there's half naked shirtless pictures on there, there's me working out like 1 rep maxes and all this kind of stuff. So we don't usually post a lot of our failures. Like something that I try to do is show that like, hey, I am human, and that's why I'm comfortable with talking about getting blackout drunk for God's sakes. I'm pretty open about these types of things, but again, it's one of those things that you see everybody's highlight reels. So when your life doesn't look like that, and I know I get sucked down that hole all the time. I'll see somebody on a trip in Mexico and being like, "Well, I have to go to Mexico."
Yeah, exactly. Right? And like that's the thing is like lots of people say like they say social media like accounts for maybe 5% of a person's life, right? And the thing that's funny about and then the issue though is when you have like 400 people you're watching, and 5% adds up on each person, because like that person's in Mexico one day, another person's in Mexico another day. So now it seems like everyone's in Mexico, and you're sitting in, Alberta, where you get stuck in ditches because of the snow and stuff like that, right? And it's freezing, and so.
But that's 100% it, right? Whether it's like somebody buying a new car, you know, moving into a new house with a significant other, whether it's having a kid or, you know, whatever it is, there's always going to be somebody that has what you want. Yeah. And social media kind of extends that. And, you know, that time compounds as well. You know, if you spent an hour a day on social media, that's 7 hours a week, that's 30 hours a month. That's, you know, that's quite a bit. It's
quite a bit of time doing nothing when you could be doing something.
This time starts to add up, and eventually you start, instead of talking about like how many hours you wasted, you start talking about how many days you wasted.
Yeah, well, it's even like, it's funny you say that.
How many years you wasted. It's crazy.
Because like even for Ryan and I with this podcast, like the thing is like there's not much to do right now with COVID. Like there's always something, but like it's tough. And like that's the number one thing we found is like we were sitting there playing video games or even like, you know, just talking with people over like the phones or something. Like it's trying to keep some connection, but it's just funny because like, yeah, you sit there, you look at how many days you played. And then at the end of the day, you're like, wow, what could I have been doing in that time, right? Yeah. Like, did I accomplish anything, right? So
that's a productivity and kind of a mental health thing is like, you know, you want to have a balance where you can relax and you can give yourself some grace for relaxing, but you don't want to, you know, be overly relaxing, I guess. So like people can, like there's 100 different ways that we can work on ourselves. When it comes to mental health, you know, talking to people about certain issues or just reaching out, it can be really tough. Because you never know how people are going to respond. And that's another problem in our society now is like, we always expect the worst from people. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, if I text Ryan and just, you know, I might say like, hey buddy, do you have a second to chat? You know, instantly my head's going to be like, he's going to be saying like no or why, or like, you know, kind of put up a barrier, if you will, versus just like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like everyone assumes that like you need something from them or there's something that like, it's not just a chat or like, I totally get what you're saying there. Right. Like it is definitely a situation itself there. Yeah.
And people can feel like they're a little bit of a burden just by bringing up problems. That's why, you know, every single person, when you ask like, hey, how are you doing today? Good. You?
Yeah.
It's that like people, again, we've kind of made that a cliche thing where it's like, hey, how are you? And if somebody says anything but good, they're a weird person. It's like, that's not fair, right? Yeah. If somebody's having a struggle day and you asked how they were.
What's up? Not much, you?
Exactly. So it's like, you know, there's a lot of ways that we need to approach mental health. I think talking about it is obviously a big thing. If people aren't ready to talk about it, making sure that they're journaling about it is such a huge aspect, is just getting those emotions out, getting those thoughts out of their head. And having a physical interpretation of what it is, right? That goes so far in terms of how people can reflect and just see like, okay, like what is so wrong? What is, you know, holding me back from where I want to be versus where I'm at now? And just by getting those thoughts out of their head, now they can sleep a little bit better. Now there's a little bit more mental clarity. There's a little bit more focus on this type of things. So it can really help out on that side of things with like journaling. Taking care of yourself is obviously a big one, whether it's nutritionally, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it might be. And even, you know, as crappy as it sounds, sometimes it's reassessing the people that we're spending time with as well.
Yeah. You want to get... You want to have a good base around you kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because that support you and
like, because of that habit, right? You hang out with certain people and you're stuck with, like, you feel like humans are a species of habits. So when you're stuck with those people, it's tough to move on or away or with them even, right?
So like, I don't hang out with Ryan anymore. I don't want to drink.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, at least for the 6 weeks that you're doing this cleanse, right? At least for that. And then after that.
I know that brew house is opening on Monday and you're going to be the first one to be there, man.
I won't be there.
This guy loves his tankards.
I ain't drinking nothing for another at least 3 weeks.
That's good for you, man.
But 3 weeks time, if it's still open.
I said at least 3 weeks, so it could be longer.
Okay. Could be. Yeah, you never. Yeah, I mean, eventually it's going to be open. Eventually, it's going to be open.
We'll see.
All right. Last thing before we go here, we're gonna wrap it up pretty quick. You have a podcast.
Yes, I do.
Tell us about it.
The Real Results podcast can be found on all major podcast platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, probably all the same ones you guys are on and stuff. Real Results podcast was something that I was super passionate about. Again, I love giving back, and the more free information we can give out about fitness, especially where there's so much convoluted information out there, that's what we really wanted to do. So I'm the host of it. I do a couple episodes by myself, But lately it's kind of evolved to the point where, you know, I always try to have a guest on, whether they're a 360 fitness coach, if there's somebody in the health and wellness world that can provide value, or just spotlighting different situations or different kind of fads that are coming up. We want to try to tackle everything, and we want to try to help people, again, see real results in life, because even for our clients, like when we're training them, we can't always educate them on every single little thing.
Yeah.
Whereas this platform allows us to dive a little bit deeper into there, and, you know, give 360 Fitness a little bit more exposure, not just in Alberta, but worldwide, because, you know, we have quite a bit of really great stuff going on. And I'm biased, but I think that we are one of the best studios out there, not just for training, but just as a whole, with the way that we give back, the community that we have, the great people that have come through 360 Fitness. Like, some of the people have changed my life dramatically, as clients, let alone as trainers. So that's something that I was super passionate about. So I wanted to make sure that we put together a little bit of a podcast and put it out there. Like, again, same as you guys, just kind of grassroots, building it up.
Exactly. So you have 44 episodes out. What would be your advice to us?
A couple amateurs, you know,
this
just
is our first episode we've ever done.
Stop bringing up your guest's most embarrassing experience. It would be number one. No, with that side of things, like, honestly, it's consistency. It's just have fun while you're doing it, right? Like, if you guys are having fun, people will follow along with that. If you're miserable and just kind of doing it just to do it, then it's going to end really quickly. Like, there's a million other podcasts out there, so don't feel like it's an obligation, but just keep it consistent, have fun the entire time, get people that you can engage with, and just keep chipping away, because that's really what it is, right? It starts grassroots. It might not be where you want it to be in like 5 months to a year from now, but if you just keep going, like, something that I noticed with our podcast is with downloads, right? That's what we kind of track at this point. You know, you'll have peak months, and then you'll have 2 months of down, and then you'll have 3 months of building back up to a higher peak, down, back up. It's like anything else in life. It's going to have its ups, it's going to have its downs, and you just ride it out and just keep putting out good content that you feel happy about. Yeah,
for sure. I definitely get that. Like, I've had a couple like YouTube channel things checking out those stats, and it's definitely one of those things. There's a lot of it's like a roller coaster for sure. Of support. So
and you know what, it sucks, because sometimes you'll like put together a podcast and you'll be like, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, this will for sure knock it out of the park.
This is
and then
sick.
there's like 5 downloads.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what? And then you look at Joe Blow, like, again, you look at Rich's podcast, and it's going to be like 5,000 fucking downloads.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, everybody else is getting like 10. What the hell?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But again, there's going to be ones that surprise you, where people are way more engaged with it. And it's going to be like, all right, I guess that works. And then there's going to be other times where you're like, well, crap. Like, what do we got to do? What did you do during that episode that maybe you didn't do somewhere else? Because it might not just be the content. It might be the way that you introduce things. It might have been the flow. It might have been X, Y, or Z, right?
Exactly. You definitely learn that stuff as you go. As long as I think personally, as long as you're willing to learn, improve in some way, and be open to that, then it can only go uphill, I would think. But we'll find that out either the easy way or the hard way. Probably the hard way.
Absolutely. It's always the hard way. I mean, if you really want the full experience, just drive yourself into a ditch. You'll have to figure out how to get out.
Honestly,
you'll be a better man for it.
Man, the time you're stuck there, I was honestly debating bringing the whole setup over there and just doing it right by the truck.
We really should have. Like, this could have been done hours ago.
No, man, that's actually one of the things we want to do eventually. Is in the summer we kind of want to go on the road. Like,
nice.
For example, we were going to do it in your gym, but we can't because of HS, right? Like, just restrictions and stuff, which is totally fair. But we're planning to eventually do it outside. Or like a cool idea that we had was like, if you go to like a restaurant and you just film like testing wings or something, right?
Oh yeah.
So you do a podcast with a guest in a booth, and then
crushing some moose heads and and
just
some wings.
Just make sure you get their permission before you do.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Obviously, we're not just gonna bring in the set. And,
You'd be surprised. Some people that
we would obviously ask. Like, we just want to
so.
kind of collaborate like that with like different people. I don't know.
Sure.
We're kind of
partnerships, man. Just reach out to different places, see who will work with you. If somebody's willing to listen, that's really step one.
Yeah, and we're pretty much like bringing on guests that we like we think are interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we don't want to just like interview someone just for the sake of interviewing them,
Yeah.
or just because you think it's gonna get views or something like that.
Well,
Like,
this
I don't know.
definitely this won't get views. I can guarantee you that.
Dude,
Yeah,
buddy, you're a stud, man.
But I appreciate you thinking I'm interesting and shit. So
Hey man, there's definitely a lot of things I've never experienced in there that I've heard. So it's definitely, I think it's very interesting personally. But you never know, man. Like there's probably people lining up right now on when they see the teasers here, and they'll be like, man, this guy 360 Fitness single, like, oh, you know.
and then they listen to the podcast and they're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, man, we might.
It's all fun and games until you
Yeah.
hear me talk. So
Yeah. So where can everybody find you on Instagram?
yeah, so I have a couple multiple different avenues. So you can find my fitness side of things at rshill_fitness. You can find my wrestling side of it at rk_wrestling. I'm probably going to be looking at doing some type of combination here, maybe in the near future.
Kind of like merging all of them in together into one.
Yeah, kind of branding myself a little bit differently. Trying to look at some different kind of side businesses to go into on top of the personal training side of things. So, there's some ideas and some pokers in the fires, but for the time being,
Do we get a sneak peek or no?
No, because once
early access.
once I put it out there, then I actually have to fucking do it. So
That's true. So definitely go follow Rich on there, guys, because you'll probably post it on there, and then that's where everyone can follow.
Honestly, if it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen later this year. If it doesn't happen later this year, then it's not going to happen at all. So, but yeah, I'm kind of excited about it.
Is it OnlyFans?
I am now an entrepreneur.
Are you gonna give one of those like
OnlyFans.
50% off coupons for like the first 200 people that sign up too, or no?
Yeah, but I'm gonna be really shitty, and it's just gonna be like bathing suit pictures.
So pretty much like
no nudes.
You're
no
pretty much
nudes.
your wrestling like
Yeah,
outfits.
exactly. I'll just put the little smiley face and make it look like it's nude until I get your money.
POV, you're in the stands and I'm wrestling against tag teaming another team in the ring.
POV is like I'm sleeping or something. Like this is awful. Like who would pay for this content? It's like, well, you did, stupid. But there's multiple different avenues this kind of idea could go. So I'm pretty excited about it. I just got to figure out, like, obviously put together a business plan, mission statement, kind of get my shit together on the business end of it, rather than just kind of be like, oh, this would be cool. And this would be
it's
cool.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, there is a lot of work that goes into that. But for the time being, rshill_fitness, or rk_wrestling. Same thing on Facebook. Twitter, I think, is the exact same, to be honest, except for rs_hill for Twitter instead of fitness.
Holy fuck, buddy, get it together, man.
It's called branding, man. This is what happens when you have 6 accounts for fucking every platform.
Man, gotta get that link tree hooked up.
I do. I have Linktree for a lot of things, but I haven't hooked it up for like Instagram, Twitter. And
Eventually, man. Eventually,
it's the stuff people can buy, but it's not how you can follow me. But yeah,
sweet.
Instagram's
Well,
the best way.
thank you so much for coming on. We
Yeah, man.
appreciate it.
Thanks, bro, Beans.
You're
Much
a
appreciated.
great first guest.
Yeah, hopefully we can have you on another time here, and next time you can RKO Ryan right into the ground.
I would love the power bomb through this table here. So
Yeah, you know what?
We can do that for
We
sure.
can make that happen next time for sure.
Sweet.
We can make
I'll
that
do it in my wrestling getup. You can interview me as a wrestler instead of a human being.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we definitely look forward to that one.
And thank you everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate it. You guys have been showing us so much love on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, and just like let us know, if you found Rich interesting, give us let us know, because he's got lots of stories, and let us know who else you want to see. It's just a big thing about, like, I don't know, we're just trying to grow this and make it a fun little thing we're working on, and definitely was a fun one today. I'll say that.
Show some love, comment.
Let's
subscribe.
fucking go, Moosehead. Get that sponsorship going.
Crush a Moosehead for the boys, and tag us in it.
One thing we're gonna do actually is Moosehead had this or like on their Instagram, it's always 2 people like holding like a Moosehead, like drinking it, and it's so we're just gonna send a photo in and hopefully get on there,
Yeah,
Beautiful.
kind of like this.
But,
Just spam the hell out of their email and their contact lines. Just spam it every day. Call.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to sponsor us yet? You want to sponsor us
yeah,
yet?
yeah.
Exactly.
Eventually they'll break,
Eventually they have to, right? Yeah.
or they'll get a
even if
restraining
it's
order.
just like 1 case a day, like
One good.
I mean a week.
One case a day will last. It might last a day. We don't know.
There you go.
Sweet. Well, let's wrap it up, boys.
Yeah. Thanks, Rich, and yeah.
Peace.